Wuthering Waves is entering one of its most important updates yet. We are getting a brand new region, new characters, and the introduction to the Mengzhou arc. However, after watching the 3.5 livestream, I expected to feel excited, but instead I felt almost nothing. Which feels weird to say, because I'm actually very excited for Mengzhou overall. The region looks amazing, the designs look great, and I genuinely think wuwa's future still looks very promising. But despite all of that, 3.5 itself just isn't exciting for me. And after thinking about it, I started to understand why. Part of it's personal preference, but part of it comes from bigger issues that I think Kuro still needs to address. So yeah, let's talk about it. But first, I want to make something very clear. This is not me saying 3.5 will be bad. This is just me explaining why this specific patch doesn't really hit for me. Because when I look at this patch, there are a few things that immediately lower my excitement. Power creep and the banner problem. For starters, let's talk about something not personal but very objective. Power creep, because it is becoming one of my biggest concerns for wuwa and its future. When I saw the 1.0 banner reruns, my first reaction was actually excitement, at least at first. Then reality kicked in. Most of these characters are noticeably weaker than modern units, especially in endgame content. And Jinxie, for example, doesn't even have a complete limited team, and she's a sentinel resonator. And Kuro brought all of them back with no buffs, no meaningful adjustments, nothing. And the worst part, this banner uses limited pools. That's insane to me, because why would newer players spend valuable limited pools on characters that are significantly weaker than modern units? Unless you really love the character or you spend money, this banner just doesn't feel worth it at all. And I think that's a problem, because older characters should still feel appealing, not necessarily top meta, but at least viable enough that newer players don't feel punished for liking them. That's why I think Kuro needs to start buffing older units, because if power creep keeps growing, this becomes a much bigger issue. Now, I know this is going to be controversial because I know some people genuinely like Yangyang, but personally, I've never really liked their character since the release of the game. Part of it comes from the early voice direction, another part is just her character overall. I've said this before, but early wuwa voice acting had a lot of issues, and Yangyang was probably the character that suffered the most from that. And thankfully, voice direction has improved a lot since then. Most characters feel much better now compared to before, but even with that improvement, Yangyang is still not a character I feel attached to. And that matters because 3.5 seems heavily centered around her. So naturally, if the main focus of the patch is a character I don't care about, my excitement drops a lot. Luckily, I do like Suisui's design. So it's not like this patch has nothing going for it from my perspective, but overall, Yangyang being the central focus definitely hurts the hype for me. Danjin story placement. Then there's Danjin. And honestly, this one really disappointed me. Danjin is finally getting introduced in the story after all this time, and where does Kuro put her? On a fucking exploration quest. Are you kidding me? An exploration quest? That is a massive waste, because important characters should feel important. And putting a character like Danjin inside content instead of the main story makes her introduction feel non-existent, especially since most exploration quests just aren't voiced. That makes it even worse. I just feel like this was a missed opportunity. Let me calm down for a bit. Now let's talk about what I think is the biggest issue here. And this isn't exclusive to 3.5. I think Kuro has a recurring problem with region introductions. And yeah, this happened before. The launch story had pacing issues. 2.0 had great visuals but way too much dialogue. 3.0 improved pacing a lot, but it still felt more like setup rather than payoff. And that's the pattern I keep noticing. Kuro is good at building hype for future patches, but sometimes the actual introduction patch feels weaker than it should. And I'm not saying they should rush the story, I'm just saying how it is. It still feels less impactful even if it's necessary. And that's exactly how 3.5 feels to me, like a setup patch for bigger things coming later, which again, it isn't necessarily bad, but it makes the patch itself feel less exciting. Now, why I'm still excited for Mengzhou? Now, despite everything I said, I still want to end this on a positive note because I am excited for Mengzhou. Very excited. The region looks incredible, the upcoming characters look great, and honestly, I think versions 3.6, 3.7 or 3.8 could be much stronger than 3.5, so this isn't me losing faith in wuwa, not even close. I'm still optimistic about the game. I just think 3.5 especially feels underwhelming, and I think part of that comes from Yangyang being the center of focus, part of it comes from Powercreep, and part of it comes from Kuro ongoing region introduction problem, quote unquote. At the end of the day, I don't hate 3.5, I'm just not hyped for it. And I think that's an important difference, because I still believe Wuthering Waves has an incredible strong future, but if Kuro wants to keep long-term excitement high, I don't think they need to address things like power creep, older unity relevance, stronger introduction patches, and despite not being mentioned in this video, HP inflation. But that's just my opinion, because the problem isn't that wuwa's future looks bad. Again, I think the future looks great. The problem is that 3.5 feels like a slow setup, and I think that's why this patch isn't hitting for me. But what do you guys think? Are you hyped for 3.5 or are you excited for the patches after it? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to join our Discord, we are daily active. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one.